All right, so well done. At this point in time, you guys have done your email. You've practiced an assignment by uploading and downloading things into Canvas and checked how I graded it. You've worked in a discussion board, and so now that you've got those preliminaries out of the way and gotten a little bit familiar with Canvas, now onto the important concept of let's test your foundation. How much do you remember from your college algebra days so that your preparedness for 188 is good. So very important because it actually what makes math extremely difficult to learn. In order to build new ideas, you need a very strong foundation of past ideas. So that's what we're going to be doing over this next couple of weeks is you are basically going to be having all your aha moments and getting ideas back. Of course, we'll test your ability and your foundation on test number one. We'll go from there. All right. So without any further ado, let me share my screen. And what you're currently looking at is our homepage. If you go to modules, all right. There's our getting started module that you work through, and right below it is our college algebra review week, right? Or weeks in case since we're doing this for over a couple of weeks. As most of my modules will have, every module has an overview page where you can upload and download notes and whatnot. There's usually pages of videos, right, where I'm presenting things and giving discussion items. There's usually a homework set or a quiz, and then there's a review discussion board for you to go on. In this particular module, there's nothing to upload or download since this is foundational practice. I'm not requiring you to turn anything in, so don't be worried too much about that. Just make sure you're getting your review down. All right. And so if you press on the overview page, what you're going to find on this is the video you're currently watching, all right, as well as links to the function review, all right, the abstract function review, and to the right triangle and Pythagorean theorem review. All right. I also give some dates on when you should have these finished leading up to the test, but I encourage you to work ahead. We only have like 3 class sessions. One of them's going over our syllabus. So we only have 2 really to go over any questions you might have over all this review material before our test. So make sure you're working ahead, but those are some recommended guidelines. I want you to realize I will not be formally lecturing over this material. It's ideas that you should already have down. All right. And hopefully by going through this review module, you'll get some ideas back. Um, you'll have your aha moments as we lead up to our test. However, if you struggle with this review, things aren't coming back. You don't understand the videos that are coming up. You don't understand the class activities that we're doing. The homework's a struggle. Things are just flying over your head. That's probably a good indication that you're in the wrong class and you need to drop back down to a 150 class or heck, maybe even a 121 or a 114 class. I don't know everybody's math history here. So, very, very important that you're engaged. So again, for the function review, you'll just, as we've seen, there's an arrow where you press down on it, and there's basically something like similar to the pretest I gave you. So just a review of functions, function notation, right? How to graph functions, some things with, asymptotes and all that other good stuff, right? And how to solve equations and systems, right? And then, of course, the abstract function review is, answering some questions based off of not having a clearly defined function, right? Shifting things around, shifting them up and down, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. All right. And then, of course, there's the right triangle review, which goes over what a right triangle is, the Pythagorean theorem, as well as some special right triangles. All right. So those are some of the items that you need to be prepared or at least have in your foundation in order to be prepared for this class. All right. What I would encourage you to do is to basically take each one of those and maybe try some of them on your own, see how much you can do, especially since you have more time at home to do that rather than class. And then when you're finished, what's nice, if you press next, I actually have videos that basically go over every single problem from the function review, from the abstract function review, and from the right triangle Pythagorean review. So this will give you a good idea of watching my videos, getting comfortable with listening to my voice, getting comfortable with how I present things so that you can also gauge, yeah, this guy can present. I understand him. This looks good. Or like, heck, I don't like this. I better find another class because this pretty much is how guided notes are going to be and everything in the future. So please make sure you're paying attention and getting comfortable, all right, with how I present lessons and how I present ideas. But essentially, when you go through these, so there's all the function review problems, right? Here's all the abstract function review videos, right? There's, I think, 4 or 5 of those, right? And then there's all the videos related to the right triangle Pythagorean theorem. So I'm basically giving you the answer key for all those homework sets, all right? Of course, I encourage you, all right, to have that all down, all right? After you burped a little bit, reviewed and redo and all that other stuff, what I also did is I'm not using the textbook, but I went ahead and made copies of the appendix sections that the textbooks has. Unfortunately, what's missing from it is the right triangle Pythagorean stuff, but I think it hits just about everything else. So, if you want to, hone your skills on solving equations and equalities, you just press the downward arrow, and what you basically have is a copy, right, of all that homework set. What's also nice is there's also answers over to the left. So there's all your stuff on how to solve equations, right, how to solve inequalities, some things about interval notation, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So maybe even more of an extension of what you saw in the review exercise. If you want to review how to graph equations, right, you'll basically upload review 2, and there's basically ideas on how to graph equations, linear equations, circles, all kinds of good stuff there, square roots, functions, moving them around. All right, and if you want a function review, right, you'll press the third one, and what that'll do is basically give you, oops, come on in there. Get this downloaded, right? So there's basically your function review, right? Function notation, how to determine whether something is a function, how to read graphs and answer function questions, and whatnot. And then I think you guys get the point. R4 basically is graphing functions, but using transformations and symmetry and even and oddness. So hopefully this will just give you even more problems. So, there's obviously many, many problems from the handouts I gave you and the videos I gave you. Redo those, right? As well as, if you want more practice, there's a whole bunch more practice right there. And as you saw, each one of these actually has the answer key off to the right. So you can kind of gauge, oops, let me go review 3, right? There's all your answers over here to the right. Okay. So, or to the left, excuse me. So there's lots and lots of practice. Like I said earlier, I'm not going to officially go over this. What I'll be doing is using class time to ask you guys, hey, where's your questions? Where's your struggles? Let's talk about them. Let's clarify things as we get prepared for our test that's coming up. Of course, if you're we only meet twice a week. So if you have more questions, you're working on a Saturday or a Friday or a Tuesday night, whatever the case might be, there's a review discussion board that you can use to also post your questions. I think the best way to do that is to maybe take a snapshot of the work that you've done, post that picture, tell us where you're at, what your ideas are, what your question is, and then hopefully your classmates will help. I'll definitely help. And if there seems to be an overall idea, somebody posts a question and you guys can't answer it as a class, I know exactly where to start in class. All right. We'll just go to the discussion board and resolve any issues that we're working with there. All right. So that basically, and again, there isn't anywhere to upload any of this homework. I'm not worried about grading it. This is all review. It's all practice. It's your job, all right, to make sure that you get everything back. So again, there's just an overview of your college algebra review to get ready for pre-calculus. All right. And so without further ado, let me go ahead and stop that. Please make sure you're diving into that. Don't wait until the last minute. Don't wait until Wednesday night, because there is a lot there. There's a lot of items. So make sure every day you're working on something, all right, related to our college algebra review. So you're prepared for class discussions. You'll have all your aha moments, and then you can successfully pass test number 1. And lastly, if you don't pass test number 1, if you struggle through all this review, it's a very, very strong indication you're in the wrong class. And I highly encourage you to drop back to a 150 or a 121 environment. Okay. Other than that, I'll talk to you guys later. Take it easy.